Every sunrise gives you a gift. It is a new beginning, a chance to start again, a blank page on which you can write the story of your day. The question is simple, but it is also profound. Will you take control of this day, or will you let it slip away, guided by habits, distractions, or the demands of others? Will you allow your mind to be pulled in many directions, or will you anchor yourself in clarity and purpose? Before the world pulls you into chaos, pause for a moment. Close your eyes if you can. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs, and then release it slowly. Let your shoulders drop. Let the weight of yesterday, of your worries, and of your endless to-do list sink away just for a few moments. This moment is yours. You have not yet acted, not yet reacted. You are standing at the edge of possibility. Many people move through their mornings without awareness. They wake, they check their phones, they respond to messages, and they allow their minds to be filled with noise before they have even had a chance to think clearly. Their energy is already spent before they have done anything that truly matters. But you are not here to follow the same path. You are here to learn how to take control, how to start your day intentionally, and how to shape your mind to serve you, not distract you. Right now, in this quiet pause, you have a choice. You can choose to act with awareness. You can choose to give yourself a moment of stillness. You can choose to set the tone for the rest of your day. How you begin matters far more than most people realize. It is in these first few moments, these first few decisions, that the mind begins to form the patterns that will guide every action, every thought, and every emotion for the hours ahead. Take another slow breath. Notice the clarity that comes when you simply stop. Notice the power that comes from recognizing that you are not a passenger in your own life. You are the driver. You hold the steering wheel. You decide the direction. The sunrise is not just light spilling into the world. It is a signal, a reminder that you have time. You have opportunity. You have the chance to choose how you will think, how you will act, and how you will respond. This is also a moment to prepare your mind. The world will not wait for you to be ready. Demands will come. Challenges will appear. People will test your patience. Situations will push against your calm. But by starting your day with awareness, by giving yourself these first moments of control, you are laying a foundation. You are building the mental strength to handle whatever comes without being overwhelmed or swept away by impulse. This video is designed to help you take those first steps toward control. It will guide you through habits that strengthen the mind, sharpen focus, and help you act with intention. If you are ready to claim your mornings and your life, then stay with this message. Like this video, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that these Stoic strategies are always within your reach. Let this moment sink in. Take another breath. Feel your mind become quiet. Know that the choice is yours. Every sunrise will come, every day will begin, and each day is a gift. How you use it, how you shape it, and how you guide your thoughts is entirely up to you. You have felt the weight of mornings that control you instead of the other way around. You wake up, and before you have even opened your eyes fully, your mind is already racing. Thoughts of work, responsibilities, and obligations flood in. You check messages, emails, notifications, and the small pressures of the world immediately begin to shape your mood and your actions. You may feel rushed, distracted, or overwhelmed. You may feel that your day is running you rather than the other way around. This is a familiar feeling, and it is one that most people accept as normal. They believe that mornings are simply something to get through, a passage of time before life begins in earnest. But it does not have to be this way. Comfort has never built strength. The ease of letting your mind wander, the temporary pleasure of staying in bed, the distraction of scrolling through a phone or thinking about small tasks. These things may feel harmless, but they shape who you become. They teach your mind to react, not to choose. They train your habits in weakness. Strength, clarity, and focus do not arise from avoiding effort. They do not come from chasing comfort. They are cultivated through deliberate practice, repeated choices, and conscious attention to the way you begin each day. Distraction never creates clarity. When your attention is pulled in every direction, your mind cannot focus on what truly matters. Decisions are made in haste. Thoughts become scattered. Emotions run unchecked. This is a slow erosion of power. Every moment spent reacting to noise, every hour spent giving your attention to things that do not serve you, weakens the mind's ability to respond with thought and purpose. Waiting for things to happen, hoping the day will somehow sort itself out, produces only frustration and stagnation. Freedom comes not from waiting, but from action, from awareness, and from intentional choice. Stoicism teaches you another way. It shows that your mind can be disciplined before the day begins. It teaches that mastery over self is far more important than mastery over circumstances. The world will always present challenges, interruptions, and demands. Some of them will be small, almost trivial, but others will be significant, testing your patience and your resilience. If you begin the day without preparation, without control, these pressures will shape your thoughts, your actions, and even your character. But if you take control of your mind first, if you establish habits that strengthen focus, clarity, and emotional balance, you enter the day as the one who leads, not the one who follows. Each morning is a battlefield. Your attention, your energy, and your focus are the ground over which this battle is fought. Your habits are your weapons. Simple actions taken consistently have the power to shift the course of your entire day. A calm mind is like armor. Awareness is like a shield. Discipline is a sword that cuts through distraction and indecision. When you cultivate these tools, you are not at the mercy of the day. You are prepared to act with thoughtfulness, to respond with wisdom, and to shape your circumstances rather than be shaped by them. Every person faces this same challenge, yet few rise to meet it with intention. You are here because you are willing to do so. You are here because you understand that a day that begins without control is a day lost, a day in which potential fades into reaction. Stoicism offers the path to mastery. It offers the chance to build strength quietly, steadily, and powerfully before the world even notices. By the time the demands come, by the time the pressures mount, you will be ready. Your mind will be your ally. Your habits will be your tools. Your day will become a place of deliberate action rather than chaotic reaction. This understanding is the first step. Recognizing the cost of a morning surrendered to distraction and comfort allows you to see clearly the value of intentional action. It is not easy. It requires effort, awareness, and repetition. But the rewards are profound. Each day you take control of your mind. You build a foundation for every choice, every action, and every thought to serve your purpose. We will explore 10 Stoic habits designed to discipline your mind every morning. These are not suggestions or tips that work for only a few people. These are principles that have guided some of the greatest minds in history. They have been tested over centuries and remain relevant because they focus on one thing above all else: mastery over your own mind. When you begin to practice these habits consistently, you take control of the moments that define your day. You no longer wait for clarity to appear. You no longer hope for discipline to arrive. You create it intentionally. These habits are grounded in ancient wisdom. Stoic philosophers understood the power of the mind more deeply than most people today realize. They recognized that it is not external events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. They saw that happiness, strength, and calm are cultivated within, not in the circumstances around us. Every morning, they would remind themselves that challenges are inevitable. They prepared to meet the world with calm and reason, and they trained their minds to respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. This ancient knowledge forms the foundation of the habits we will explore. At the same time, these habits are supported by modern psychology. We now understand how repeated actions shape the brain. We know that habits are not small things, they are the architecture of thought. Every decision to focus, every choice to pause, every moment spent observing rather than reacting strengthens the pathways that create resilience, clarity, and self-control. Each habit builds your ability to think clearly under pressure. Each habit trains your mind to respond with intention rather than impulse. The combination of Stoic principles and modern understanding creates a framework that is both practical and deeply effective. It is important to stay focused as we move through these habits. Each one matters. Each one is a piece of a larger structure. When practiced together, they form a system that transforms the way you approach your mornings and eventually the way you approach life. Missing one habit or treating it lightly can reduce the impact of the others. That is why attention is essential. As you listen, as you absorb, imagine yourself practicing each habit. Imagine the calm, the clarity, and the control that come when these principles are applied consistently. Every habit builds on the last. They are not isolated exercises or abstract ideas. They are connected steps in a process of daily preparation. Some habits teach awareness, others teach restraint. Some teach reflection, others teach deliberate action. Together, they create a routine that strengthens your mind, focuses your attention, and equips you to face the day with strength rather than fatigue, with presence rather than distraction, with confidence rather than doubt. By the end of this video, if you allow yourself to take these habits seriously, you will have a clear blueprint for controlling your mind every morning. You will understand how to begin each day with intention. You will have a practical set of actions that can be applied immediately, not just ideas to think about. These 10 habits are not quick fixes. They are the tools of consistent mental discipline, the methods by which calm, clarity, and resilience are built quietly, steadily, and powerfully. As we begin, remember this: your mind is like a garden. The habits you plant each morning determine what grows. With focus and discipline, you can cultivate strength, calm, and clarity. Without them, distractions, worry, and weakness take root. Every moment is an opportunity to choose what grows. These 10 habits are the seeds of a stronger mind. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like this video. Doing so helps the ideas reach more people who are seeking clarity and discipline in their mornings. Comment below to share your commitment. Tell us how you intend to practice these habits or which habit you feel ready to embrace first. By engaging in this way, you are not only holding yourself accountable, but you are also joining a community of people who are committed to living with purpose and intentionality. This community is built on the desire to cultivate calm, strength, and clarity in everyday life. Your participation makes the message stronger, and it reminds you that you are not alone in your pursuit of a disciplined mind. Habit 1. Claim your morning before it claims you. Every morning is a choice. The moment your eyes open, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to being carried by distraction, worry, and habit. The other path leads to presence, intention, and control. Claiming your morning is the first step to shaping the rest of your day. This is not about rushing or forcing yourself into activity. It is about understanding that the first moments of the day set the tone for everything that follows. How you spend these moments is how you shape your mind, your energy, and your focus. The Stoics believed in waking with awareness. They understood that the mind is most vulnerable when it is fresh from sleep. Thoughts are not yet organized. Emotions are not yet grounded. This is the time when we are most likely to surrender our power without noticing it. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself to approach the day as a human being committed to purpose. He knew that the world would not wait for him. He knew that circumstances, other people's behavior, and the chaos of life could easily sweep him along if he did not take command first. This principle is as true now as it was in his time. When you claim your morning, You begin by acknowledging that your mind belongs to you first. This means resisting the urge to grab your phone, check messages, or dive into social media. These distractions appear harmless, but they steal focus and energy before you even rise from bed. They dictate mood, frame your thoughts, and shape your reactions to the world. Choosing to pause, to breathe, and to center yourself immediately upon waking is the first act of control. The Stoics practiced this with a simple discipline. They would remind themselves that the day is a gift, that it is fleeting, and that their actions in those early moments matter more than most people realize. It is not about perfection, it is about presence. Modern psychology confirms the power of the morning. The first 30 to 60 minutes of your day influence your mindset, productivity, and emotional resilience for the rest of the day. Neuroscience shows that routines anchor the mind. When we act with intention early, we strengthen pathways that promote focus and self-regulation. Conversely, surrendering the morning to distraction strengthens patterns of anxiety, reaction, and indecision. Simply put, when you control your first moments, you train your mind to respond instead of react. You create a momentum that carries into your work, your relationships, and your decisions. The habit of claiming the morning is a practice of self-mastery. Imagine waking up and immediately reaching for your phone. A message, a notification, or a news headline instantly pulls your attention outward. You react without thought. Your energy is dispersed and your focus is scattered. Contrast this with sitting up, taking a slow, deep breath, and reminding yourself that this day is yours. You decide what matters first. You may choose to drink water, stretch, journal, or simply sit in quiet reflection. These actions may seem small, but they signal to your brain that you are in charge. You are not a passive participant in your life. You are directing it from the very start. The Stoics called this mindfulness and intentionality. Epictetus emphasized that freedom is found in mastery over the self, not in controlling the world. Claiming your morning is a practical application of this principle. It teaches you that no circumstance, no outside event, and no person can dictate your mind unless you allow it. The world may be chaotic, but your morning is a sanctuary where you practice authority over yourself. This habit also prepares you for inevitable challenges. By beginning with discipline and awareness, you enter your day with clarity. You are less likely to be reactive, more likely to be decisive, and more capable of maintaining composure under pressure. Think of a morning when everything goes wrong. Perhaps someone is rude to you on the way to work, or an urgent task demands attention immediately. If you have surrendered your morning to distraction, these events feel overwhelming. Your mind reacts impulsively, your stress compounds. You feel as though you are at the mercy of circumstance. Now imagine the same scenario, but you have claimed your morning. You started with calm, focus, and deliberate action. Your mind is anchored. You respond with clarity instead of panic. Your decisions are intentional. You carry your momentum into every interaction, every challenge, and every choice. This is the power of claiming the morning. Every sunrise is an opportunity that will never return. By seizing this moment, you lay the foundation for the rest of the day. You are not seeking immediate achievement or perfection. You are building consistency, strength, and self-mastery. Each morning you practice this habit, your mind learns that control is possible. Your energy is protected. Your focus is sharpened. Your actions align with purpose rather than distraction. Claiming your morning is the first habit in the journey toward discipline, clarity, and control. It is a habit of awareness, self-leadership, and preparation. The simple act of starting the day intentionally sets a precedent for everything that follows. By mastering this one habit, you create the conditions for all other habits to take root and grow. Habit 2. Direct your thoughts, don't let them direct you. Your mind is the most powerful tool you possess, but it can also be your greatest enemy. Left unattended, thoughts wander, emotions dominate, and decisions are made impulsively. Habit 2 is about taking control of your mental landscape. You must learn to direct your thoughts, to notice them without being carried by them, and to guide them toward clarity, purpose, and calm. This is not about suppressing thoughts or pretending they do not exist. It is about observation, discernment, and deliberate direction. Every thought you nurture has power. Every mental choice you make shapes your behavior and your experience. By mastering your thoughts, you lay the foundation for self-discipline, focus, and emotional resilience. The Stoics understood this principle more than 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius advised himself to live each day with awareness of his mind's tendencies. He knew that thoughts arise spontaneously, often without reason or merit. He wrote about the need to examine each thought, to ask whether it serves virtue, wisdom, or purpose. Thoughts that do not contribute to these ends should be set aside, not allowed to grow into distractions, anxieties, or impulsive behaviors. Epictetus taught that external events cannot harm us unless we let our thoughts give them that power. Our mind is the battlefield where freedom is won or lost. Learning to direct your thoughts is learning to take command of your inner world. Psychology confirms the importance of this habit. Neuroscience shows that our brains follow pathways reinforced by repeated patterns of thinking. Every time you allow your mind to drift into worry, self-criticism, or judgment, you strengthen neural circuits that support stress and distraction. Every time you observe a thought, assess its value, and consciously redirect it, you strengthen pathways that promote clarity, emotional regulation, and focus. In practical terms, this means that training your mind is an exercise in both awareness and choice. It is not enough to wish for calm or to hope for focus. You must actively practice observing your thoughts and choosing which ones to follow. Consider the mornings when your mind races. Perhaps you wake thinking about work deadlines, unpaid bills, or a tense conversation that may happen later. These thoughts are natural. They are part of being human. The habit is not to eliminate them, but to direct them. Ask yourself whether each thought serves you. Will thinking about that meeting right now improve your preparation? Will ruminating on the past moment help you act wisely today? If the answer is no, gently set the thought aside. Replace it with one that is productive, one that guides action, or one that restores calm. Over time, this practice rewires the mind. You are no longer at the mercy of random mental activity. You begin to steer your day from the inside out. Directing your thoughts also creates space for creativity and problem-solving. When the mind is not scattered or ruled by anxiety, it can focus fully on the task at hand. You can think more deeply, notice subtle patterns, and make decisions with greater clarity. You are able to respond to challenges with intelligence rather than reaction. The Stoics believed that the mind is a garden. It flourishes when carefully tended, and it withers when neglected. Thoughts are seeds. Some will grow into habits of courage, wisdom, and self-control. Others will grow into worry, fear, and indecision. The work of the morning is to choose which seeds to water. Imagine receiving a critical message from someone close to you. Your first instinct may be to react emotionally, replay past grievances, or panic. By directing your thoughts, you create a buffer between stimulus and response. You notice the emotion, acknowledge it, and guide your mind toward rational assessment. You consider context, facts, and possible actions. You respond deliberately rather than impulsively. This is the essence of mental discipline. It is not about avoiding feeling. It is about choosing how to act in light of feeling. The modern world makes this habit more necessary than ever. Notifications, news, and constant information pull attention in every direction. If you do not practice directing your thoughts, you will be constantly pulled off course. Your focus will scatter, your mood will fluctuate, and your energy will drain before you accomplish anything meaningful. By starting the day with conscious mental direction, you train your mind to resist distractions throughout the day. You build resilience, clarity, and strength that carry into every aspect of life. Directing your thoughts also enhances your emotional life. When you allow negative or intrusive thoughts to dominate, you experience unnecessary stress and anxiety. When you consciously guide your thinking, you create emotional stability. You feel more grounded, you feel more capable of making wise choices. You are less likely to be overwhelmed by circumstances that are outside your control. This habit is a cornerstone of self-mastery. It is the bridge between inner reflection and outer action. To practice this habit, begin each morning with deliberate attention to your mind. Notice which thoughts appear first. Observe them without judgment. Ask whether each thought serves your purpose, aligns with your values, and supports your goals. Gently redirect those that do not. You may choose to focus on gratitude, intention for the day, or a specific objective. By repeating this practice, you reinforce the notion that your mind is a tool, not a tyrant. You are not carried by random thoughts. You steer them. Directing your thoughts is the second habit that builds on claiming your morning. Once you have secured the start of your day, you now take charge of the content of your mind. Both habits together create a foundation for clarity, discipline, and self-control. They allow you to face challenges without losing composure, to make decisions without panic, and to act with purpose rather than impulse. Every day you practice this habit, you strengthen your mind's capacity to support your intentions and guide your actions. This habit is not a one-time effort. It requires repetition, patience, and awareness. The benefits accumulate quietly but powerfully. Over weeks and months, you will notice a difference in how you experience life. Your mind will feel lighter, your focus sharper, and your responses more deliberate. Challenges will become opportunities for practice rather than sources of stress. Directing your thoughts is the art of mental leadership. It is the foundation for all other habits that build discipline, control, and presence in your life. Habit 3, release yesterday. Every day, we carry the weight of the past with us. Mistakes, regrets, disappointments, and failures linger in our minds long after they happen. Habit 3 is about releasing yesterday. It is the conscious decision to let go of what cannot be changed and to focus on what is within your control today. You cannot undo what has happened. You cannot rewrite events that have passed, but you can choose how they influence your present. The mind that clings to yesterday is a mind that is enslaved. The mind that releases yesterday is free to act, to think clearly, and to shape the life it wants. The Stoics were masters of this principle. Seneca reminded himself daily that the past is a memory, and that attachment to it only brings suffering. He wrote that dwelling on what has already occurred does not add to your wisdom or skill. It only distracts from the work you can do now. Marcus Aurelius also practiced this daily. He reflected on events that caused him frustration or disappointment and reminded himself that holding on serves no purpose. Each day is an opportunity for a fresh start. Each moment is a chance to live with intention and virtue. The past has already passed. The present is the only moment where action, growth, and mastery are possible. Psychology supports this habit in profound ways. When the mind fixates on past errors or disappointments, it reinforces patterns of rumination and stress. These patterns create chemical responses in the body that increase anxiety, fatigue, and emotional instability. Conversely, practicing the conscious release of the past strengthens neural pathways that promote resilience, focus, and problem-solving. Cognitive therapy often emphasizes this very principle. By observing thoughts tied to past events and intentionally choosing to let them go, we train the brain to redirect attention toward the present. This habit reduces unnecessary mental clutter and strengthens the ability to act with clarity and intention. Consider the modern examples we all face. Perhaps yesterday included a heated argument, a missed opportunity, or a failure to act as you wished. You wake this morning carrying that tension into your new day. You feel the pull of frustration or regret. You imagine replaying events, imagining different outcomes, or worrying about consequences. These thoughts are natural, but they are not helpful. Releasing yesterday means you acknowledge what happened, learn if there is a lesson, and then place it aside. You do not ignore the past, but you refuse to be imprisoned by it. This is an act of self-discipline and self-respect. Releasing yesterday also allows your energy to flow where it matters. When the mind is caught in cycles of regret or anger, it cannot focus on the present. Decisions become clouded. Actions lose effectiveness. Relationships suffer. Habits cannot form. By consciously letting go, you create space for intentional thought and deliberate action. The mind becomes lighter. You notice opportunities more clearly. You respond to challenges without the weight of past failures dragging you down. This is the foundation of emotional freedom. Think about the small moments where this habit applies. Waking up after a mistake at work, you might feel the urge to carry guilt into the morning. Releasing yesterday means acknowledging your responsibility, learning what you can, and then moving forward without letting regret dominate your energy. In a personal relationship, perhaps words were said or actions taken that caused pain. You cannot undo the conversation. You can, however, release it from your mind in a controlled and thoughtful way. By doing so, you avoid carrying resentment or frustration that can cloud your judgment and your interactions today. Releasing yesterday does not mean excusing yourself from accountability. It does not mean pretending mistakes do not exist. It means that you choose to focus on what is within your control now. The Stoics taught that virtue lies in the proper use of the present moment. The past is already gone and cannot be changed. The future is uncertain and cannot be fully controlled. Only the present is yours to act upon. By releasing yesterday, you are able to act with wisdom, patience, and clarity. You are able to make better choices, respond calmly to challenges, and invest in what truly matters. This habit also builds mental resilience. Each time you release yesterday, you reinforce the understanding that the mind is your tool, not your enemy. You learn that emotional attachment to past events is optional. You discover that freedom, focus, and clarity come from conscious choice rather than external circumstances. Over time, this habit reduces stress, enhances confidence, and strengthens self-discipline. You carry fewer burdens, experience more peace, and approach each day with a sense of purpose and control. In practical terms, practice this habit each morning by reflecting on the previous day. Acknowledge what occurred, consider any lessons, and then deliberately let go. Imagine placing yesterday in a box and setting it aside. Visualize your mind free to act in the present. Notice how this changes your energy, your focus, and your ability to respond. You are no longer weighed down. You are no longer a prisoner of events that cannot be changed. You are free to act, to think clearly, and to live intentionally. Releasing yesterday is the third habit that builds upon claiming your morning and directing your thoughts. Together, these habits create a mental foundation for discipline, focus, and clarity. They allow you to face your day without the unnecessary baggage of past events. They prepare you to act deliberately, respond thoughtfully, and cultivate the strength of mind that Stoics valued above all. Every morning you practice this habit, you strengthen your mind's ability to lead itself. You cultivate emotional stability, mental clarity, and the freedom to act with purpose. This habit is a lifelong practice. It requires patience, reflection, and repetition. Each time you release yesterday, you are training your mind to prioritize the present. You are building the capacity to live with intention, to act deliberately, and to cultivate a life shaped by your values rather than your regrets. This is not an easy habit to master, but it is essential for a disciplined, focused, and resilient mind. Habit 4. Control your mind first. Every morning, before the world begins to tug at your attention, there is a moment of stillness. In that moment, your mind can either be guided by external events or it can guide itself. Controlling your mind first is not simply an act of discipline. It is a profound choice to take the helm of your life. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, constantly reminded himself that the mind is the captain of the soul. He wrote that no external force can disturb a man who has mastered his own thoughts. Your mind has the power to set the tone for your entire day. If you allow it to be reactive, to respond to every ping, every demand, every worry as it arises, your day will be dictated by chance and circumstance. If you choose to control it first, you set the pace, the focus, and the clarity for every action that follows. This habit begins the moment you open your eyes. The first thoughts that appear in your mind are not neutral. They are a mixture of expectation, fear, hope, and desire. Many people allow these thoughts to dictate their emotions, their energy, and their decisions. They reach for their phone, they check messages, they scroll through the noise before they even think. The Stoics taught that the mind must be like a city, defended by strong walls. Every thought is either a visitor who is welcome or an intruder who must be turned away. You choose who enters. By controlling your mind first, you refuse to allow reactive patterns to take hold. You set the boundaries, the priorities, and the rules for your own internal state. The psychological foundation for this habit is well supported. Modern research in neuroscience shows that the first moments of conscious thought activate neural pathways that can either reinforce stress and distraction or promote clarity and resilience. Every thought you entertain strengthens certain pathways and weakens others. If your first response to the day is chaos or reactivity, you reinforce patterns of stress and fragmentation. If your first response is calm and intentional, you reinforce clarity, focus, and deliberate action. Controlling your mind first is therefore not only a philosophical practice, but a neurological one. It shapes your brain to respond with intention rather than habit. Practically, controlling your mind first begins with deliberate pauses and conscious choice. Before engaging with any external input, take a moment to observe your thoughts without judgment. Notice any tension in your body. Recognize the emotional tones that arise naturally upon waking. This is not about suppressing feelings. It is about acknowledging them and consciously deciding which to carry forward and which to release. By doing this daily, you create a habit of mental sovereignty. Your morning sets a precedent. If you start your day with control, your mind is prepared for challenges, disruptions, and unexpected events. You respond rather than react. You act rather than drift. Consider the modern example of starting a workday. Many people begin by immediately checking email or messages. Instantly, they are exposed to the demands, complaints, and urgencies of others. Their mental state becomes reactive. Even minor frustrations can influence mood, energy, and decision-making. In contrast, a person who controls their mind first might begin the day with reflection, meditation, or conscious breathing. They decide their focus before the world asserts itself. When they eventually engage with messages or tasks, they do so with a calm, measured approach. Problems are met with thought rather than panic, interruptions are absorbed without agitation, and energy is allocated intentionally rather than scattered by external chaos. Another example can be drawn from relationships. If the mind is uncontrolled, small remarks or unexpected interactions can trigger irritation, defensiveness, or overreaction. When the mind is controlled first, there is space between stimulus and response. The individual observes, evaluates, and responds with clarity. They are less likely to escalate conflicts, more likely to maintain composure, and more capable of directing conversations in constructive ways. The mind that is first controlled sets a standard for behavior that aligns with values rather than impulses. The practice of controlling your mind first also strengthens resilience. Every day, challenges will arise. External circumstances are never guaranteed to be easy or predictable. Controlling your mind first does not eliminate difficulty, but it ensures that the difficulty does not dictate your internal state. The Stoics reminded themselves that obstacles do not harm the mind unless the mind allows them to. By mastering your own thoughts and attention, you maintain an internal fortress that cannot be breached by circumstance alone. Life remains unpredictable, but your response becomes deliberate, calculated, and empowering. To cultivate this habit, begin with a simple morning ritual. Dedicate the first moments after waking to awareness. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and notice the thoughts present in your mind. Ask yourself which thoughts are aligned with the day you wish to create and which are distractions. Set your intention for the day, clearly and verbally if needed. Engage in this practice consistently. Over time, your mind will automatically default to focus, clarity, and self-directed action each morning. It becomes an ingrained pattern, a habit that informs every choice, conversation, and task. This is how controlling your mind first shapes your day. It sets the tone for every interaction, decision, and effort. It turns chaos into clarity, distraction into focus, and reactivity into deliberate action. It is the habit that underlies all others, the cornerstone of personal discipline. Each morning, this practice reinforces your capacity to navigate life with intention and purpose. You take ownership of your mental state and, by extension, your actions. This is not a temporary fix or a superficial exercise. It is a profound daily commitment to the quality of your life. By choosing to control your mind first, you begin every day not as a victim of circumstance, but as the deliberate architect of your thoughts, actions, and outcomes. Habit 5. Start strong, finish stronger. Every day begins with potential, but it is not the day itself that determines your strength. It is how you enter it, and how you sustain that strength as the hours unfold. Starting strong is essential, but finishing stronger is what transforms ordinary routines into meaningful accomplishment. The Stoics understood this principle intuitively. Epictetus taught that life is a series of actions, each moment connected to the next. If your morning begins with purpose and your afternoon continues with distraction, your initial energy dissipates. True mastery lies not only in beginnings, but in maintaining intention, focus, and clarity until the day is complete. Starting strong means engaging your mind, body, and focus immediately upon waking. The first moments after rising are not empty or passive. They set the foundation for every thought, feeling, and action that follows. By deliberately initiating the day with clarity, reflection, or purposeful action, you shape the trajectory of the hours ahead. The Stoics often emphasized preparation. Seneca wrote that a day wasted in reactive behavior is a day lost to life itself. To start strong is to commit consciously to the day. To finish stronger is to sustain that commitment even when fatigue, distraction, or unexpected events appear. Strength is a habit, not a single act. From a psychological perspective, research shows that human attention and self-control function as resources. They are strongest when replenished and weakest when exhausted. Beginning the day with intentional focus strengthens these resources early, allowing for greater control over choices later. Simple acts such as setting your priorities, reviewing your intentions, or engaging in a short period of reflection prime the mind to maintain strength throughout the day. Each decision, each action, is less likely to be dominated by habit, impulse, or stress. Starting strong builds momentum. Momentum is the energy that carries you forward even when challenges arise. Finishing stronger requires awareness of the natural decline of attention and willpower. As hours pass, energy diminishes, and reactive patterns can easily take over. The Stoics recognized this pattern and trained themselves to remain vigilant throughout the day. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reflected on his duty to act with wisdom, regardless of circumstance. He understood that life is not measured by beginnings alone, but by consistent engagement and disciplined response. To finish stronger is to renew focus, reaffirm intentions, and act deliberately, even when the natural urge is to drift, react, or seek comfort. Modern life offers clear examples of this principle. Consider someone managing a busy workday. The morning may begin with energy and clarity, but meetings, emails, and interruptions gradually deplete focus. Without a habit of sustaining attention, reactive patterns take over. The individual may respond to messages with frustration, lose patience in conversations, or procrastinate on important tasks. In contrast, someone who practices starting strong and finishing stronger maintains intentionality. They schedule breaks strategically, reaffirm priorities periodically, and use reflection to reset their focus. Their energy remains aligned with purpose, even as the day grows long. Another example can be seen in personal projects or goals. Many people start with enthusiasm, only to lose momentum as difficulties arise. They begin with effort, but fail to sustain it. The Stoics emphasized consistency over intensity. It is not enough to begin with a burst of energy. Strength is proven through persistence. Finishing stronger is the practice of maintaining commitment, adjusting strategies as needed, and acting deliberately through fatigue or challenge. It is the difference between fleeting motivation and disciplined action, between scattered energy and focused achievement. The practice of starting strong and finishing stronger also reinforces resilience. Life rarely unfolds according to plan. Unexpected obstacles, setbacks, and interruptions are inevitable. By engaging fully at the start and recommitting throughout the day, you train the mind to remain steady in the face of uncertainty. Strength becomes less about temporary force and more about sustained presence. Every deliberate choice to maintain focus, every conscious effort to act in alignment with purpose, reinforces the mental pathways associated with discipline and self-control. Over time, these habits shape character as much as they shape daily productivity. To cultivate this habit, begin with a simple structure. Choose 1 or 2 intentional actions immediately upon waking. These could include a brief period of reflection, reviewing the day's priorities, or engaging in a physical practice that energizes both body and mind. Throughout the day, take short moments to pause, assess your state, and recommit to purpose. Even small acts of deliberate focus can accumulate into significant strength by day's end. The Stoics practiced this with meditation, journaling, and conscious reflection. You do not need elaborate routines. What matters is consistent, purposeful engagement that bridges morning clarity with afternoon resilience. This habit also fosters self-respect. Starting strong communicates to yourself that you value your time, your energy, and your potential. Finishing stronger communicates that you honor your commitments, even when the easier path is to drift or react. Each day becomes an exercise in self-mastery. The lessons of the day are carried forward. Strength is not measured solely in achievements, but in the quality of presence and effort sustained across every hour. Starting strong without finishing stronger is incomplete. Finishing stronger without a strong start is more difficult. Together, they form a seamless pattern of deliberate, disciplined living. Start strong by choosing clarity over distraction. Start strong by prioritizing what matters most. Start strong by committing to action before reacting. Finish stronger by renewing focus at midday, resisting impulses that pull you away from purpose, and responding rather than reacting to each challenge. Finish stronger by honoring your commitments to yourself, even when circumstances are difficult. Finish stronger by reflecting on progress and refining intentions as the day closes. Through this practice, you cultivate a mind that is prepared, resilient, and deliberate from the first light to the final hour. Starting strong and finishing stronger is a habit that transforms ordinary days into deliberate practice. It strengthens mental focus, reinforces discipline, and cultivates a sense of mastery over the day. Each morning offers the opportunity to act with intention, and each evening offers the opportunity to reflect and recommit. This is not about perfection. It is about presence, consistency, and deliberate action. The most powerful people are not those who begin flawlessly, but those who begin with purpose and continue with steadfastness. They honor the flow of the day without surrendering to distraction, fatigue, or external demands. By practicing this habit daily, you become someone who does not merely live, but someone who leads with strength and awareness from sunrise to sunset. Habit 6. Act without delay. The moments of life are fleeting, yet we often wait as if time were abundant. Procrastination, hesitation, and doubt quietly steal opportunities while we deliberate. Acting without delay is not about rushing recklessly. It is about honoring the present moment and responding to it with purpose. Every morning presents tasks, intentions, and choices. If we delay, even slightly, we risk losing control over our day. The Stoics recognized this. They taught that life is composed of moments, and that the wise person uses each moment deliberately. To act without delay is to respect time, to respect yourself, and to cultivate a life of intention. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic teachers, emphasized the importance of action. He reminded himself that life is lived through deeds, not idle thoughts. Knowledge, insight, and planning have value, but only when translated into action. He understood that hesitation creates anxiety. It creates a space for distractions, doubts, and external influences to dominate the mind. By acting without delay, he claimed each moment as his own. Each action reinforced self-control, clarity, and purpose. This principle is as relevant today as it was centuries ago. The early hours of the morning are especially important because they set the tone for the entire day. Acting without delay strengthens your mind. Psychologists have discovered that decisions and actions shape neural pathways. Each choice to act promptly reinforces pathways associated with discipline and efficiency. Hesitation, on the other hand, strengthens patterns of avoidance and indecision. By responding to life immediately, with thought but without unnecessary delay, you train your mind to stay active, focused, and resilient. Small actions compound into significant results over time. Completing even minor tasks early creates a sense of control and reduces mental clutter. You gain momentum, and momentum fuels further action. Consider a modern example. You wake up and notice a message requiring a response. The natural inclination may be to postpone, thinking it can wait until later. Hours pass, the message grows more urgent, and your mind carries the weight of delay. Anxiety increases, decisions feel heavier, and your energy is divided. In contrast, acting without delay transforms this scenario. You read the message carefully, respond calmly and promptly, and move forward with your day. By taking action immediately, you prevent unnecessary mental strain and maintain focus on priorities that truly matter. The habit of immediate, deliberate action keeps your mind clear and your energy directed toward purpose. This principle applies to more than small tasks. It shapes major decisions, personal projects, and long-term goals. Many people postpone important actions because of fear, uncertainty, or perfectionism. Stoicism teaches that hesitation does not protect us. It only prolongs suffering and uncertainty. Life moves forward regardless of our readiness. Acting without delay is an act of courage. It is the conscious choice to engage with reality instead of resisting it. Each morning provides the perfect opportunity to practice this habit. Start the day by completing a necessary task, making a decision, or initiating a plan that moves you closer to your goals. Each immediate action strengthens resolve and reinforces the sense that you control your life. Acting without delay also nurtures confidence. When you face life's tasks promptly and decisively, your mind learns that you are capable. Fear diminishes because the habit of action replaces hesitation with experience. Challenges no longer paralyze you. Each deliberate response reinforces self-trust and fosters a deeper sense of personal authority. Over time, the cumulative effect is profound. The habit of acting without delay transforms both the quality of your mornings and the trajectory of your entire life. You begin to notice that opportunities are seized rather than missed. You begin to experience a rhythm where intentional action precedes doubt and clarity precedes distraction. To practice this habit, start small. Identify one action each morning that you tend to postpone. Commit to completing it immediately, thoughtfully, and without unnecessary deliberation. Observe the effect on your mind. Notice how clarity grows, how focus strengthens, and how your day feels more purposeful. Over time, expand this habit to other areas of life. Respond to communications promptly, initiate tasks without waiting for the perfect moment, and tackle challenges as they arise. Acting without delay is not impulsive. It is deliberate. It is measured. It is a practice of mastery over time, thought, and self. Acting without delay is a cornerstone of a disciplined morning. It ensures that the day is shaped by your intention rather than by distraction or inertia. When you move promptly, thoughtfully, and consistently, you reclaim control over your mind and your time. Every completed action reinforces the habit. Every day becomes a series of deliberate steps toward purpose, clarity, and achievement. The simple decision to act immediately transforms hesitation into momentum, doubt into confidence, and ordinary mornings into a sequence of meaningful, controlled moments. Habit 7. Focus creates energy. Energy is not merely a measure of physical vitality. True energy emerges when your mind is aligned, clear, and focused. When your attention is scattered, when thoughts drift without purpose, energy diminishes. You may feel tired, drained, or restless, even in the early hours of the day. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that the mind is the source of human power. Directing it with intention produces the strength, clarity, and resilience needed to navigate life. Focus is not a restriction, it is a liberation. When you focus deliberately, your mental energy flows in a single powerful direction. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, often reflected on the discipline of attention. He reminded himself to act with purpose and to guard his mind against distractions. He understood that each thought consumes energy, and that scattered thinking leads to fatigue and indecision. By focusing on what matters and letting go of what does not, he preserved energy for action, insight, and meaningful engagement. In the modern world, this principle is more relevant than ever. Distractions surround us constantly. Every notification, every interruption, and every idle thought draws energy away from what is truly important. Focus is the antidote. Focusing creates energy because the mind works most efficiently when attention is directed. Modern psychology explains this in terms of cognitive resources. The brain has a limited capacity for processing information. Multitasking, rumination, and distraction deplete these resources rapidly. In contrast, concentrated attention allows for deeper thinking, better decision-making, and more sustained effort. When you focus, you reduce wasted mental activity. You channel energy into deliberate action rather than diffuse reaction. In practical terms, a focused mind feels lighter, more powerful, and more capable of handling challenges. Each morning offers an opportunity to practice this. Consider a simple example. You sit down to begin your day, perhaps with work, study, or personal projects. If your mind jumps from task to task, half-completed plans accumulate and energy dissipates. You feel restless and ineffective. If instead you begin with a clear focus, choosing a single priority and engaging with it fully, you notice a change. Thoughts become calmer, decisions come more easily, actions flow naturally. Energy is not drawn from the body or the surroundings. It emerges from the mind itself. Focus allows the mental and physical systems to work together harmoniously. This principle applies not only to tasks, but also to emotions. Stoicism teaches that mental discipline requires attention to what is within your control. Worry, resentment, and regret scatter energy because they pull the mind outward into things that cannot be changed. By choosing to focus on what you can influence, you preserve energy and maintain inner strength. Modern research confirms that ruminating on past mistakes or fearing the future is mentally exhausting. Focused attention on the present, on the actionable, strengthens the mind and replenishes vitality. Energy grows as attention narrows to what truly matters. Focus also creates energy in interpersonal relationships and communication. When you engage fully with another person or a specific task, you conserve your strength while generating influence and effectiveness. Half-hearted attention, in contrast, drains both parties and leaves you depleted. Stoic thinkers understood that presence is energy. The more fully they engaged with each action, each conversation, and each challenge, the more resources they had to navigate the complexities of life. Modern psychology calls this flow. When attention is fully directed, the mind enters a state of energized engagement. Each action becomes more effective and less tiring. To practice this habit, begin each morning by identifying a single focus. It could be a task, an intention, or an attitude. Set aside distractions, quiet your thoughts, and commit your full attention to this focus. Notice how mental energy grows, how decision-making becomes easier, and how your day gains a natural momentum. Avoid the temptation to divide your attention between many things at once. Focus is not rigidity. It is a deliberate choice to prioritize what matters and to let go of the trivial. The clarity that comes from this habit produces more energy than any stimulant or external motivator could provide. Modern life challenges this habit constantly. Notifications, emails, social media, and endless demands compete for attention. Yet each morning offers a reset. By consciously choosing focus, you reclaim energy before external influences scatter it. Over time, the habit of deliberate attention transforms the quality of your day. You will notice that tasks are completed more efficiently, stress is reduced, and resilience increases. Energy, once scattered, becomes concentrated. You begin to feel a sense of vitality and purpose that comes not from speed or force, but from clarity and direction. Focus creates energy because it aligns thought, intention, and action. It preserves mental resources while maximizing output. It prevents unnecessary fatigue while fostering resilience and insight. Each morning that you practice deliberate attention, you strengthen this capacity. Your mind learns to resist distraction, to sustain engagement, and to generate energy from clarity rather than chaos. Over weeks and months, this practice compounds. Days become smoother, decisions become easier, and personal effectiveness grows. The simple act of focusing in the early hours creates a ripple that shapes the entire day. By the time your morning is complete, the energy created by focus fuels everything else. Tasks are completed with more ease. Challenges are met with composure. You feel capable, present, and alive. This habit transforms the ordinary into the intentional. Focus becomes the foundation of your daily energy, the source of resilience, and the tool through which you exercise control over your mind and your life. Energy emerges naturally when your attention is directed and deliberate. This is how focusing creates energy. Habit 8. Small wins compound into greatness. Greatness is not born in a single act. It is not achieved through sudden inspiration or occasional bursts of effort. True greatness is the product of countless small victories that accumulate over time. Each small win, each deliberate action, each disciplined choice contributes to a momentum that shapes character, skill, and life itself. The Stoics understood this principle well. They recognized that the path to mastery is not through grand gestures, but through consistent, measured effort. Every small success, no matter how simple, carries energy, teaches discipline, and builds the foundation for larger accomplishments. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who endured hardship as a slave, yet cultivated wisdom beyond his circumstances, emphasized the importance of incremental improvement. He instructed himself and his students to focus on what is within their control, to act with purpose, and to attend to small, deliberate choices. He understood that by mastering simple actions consistently, one develops the habits, resilience, and clarity necessary for greater achievements. In modern terms, these small wins function as compounding agents. They reinforce neural pathways, strengthen decision-making skills, and train the mind to respond effectively to life's challenges. Each morning offers an opportunity to accumulate small wins before the day has fully unfolded. Completing a simple task promptly, adhering to a morning routine, or practicing a moment of reflection are not trivial acts. They are exercises in self-mastery. When you choose to complete these small actions deliberately, you demonstrate to yourself that you are capable of discipline and intention. These wins reinforce your identity as someone who acts with control, who does not wait for circumstances to dictate behavior. Each success, no matter how minor it seems, builds confidence and energy that carries forward throughout the day. Psychology supports this principle. Behavioral research has shown that consistent small achievements activate reward pathways in the brain. The experience of success, even on a minor scale, triggers a release of dopamine and other neurochemicals that reinforce behavior. This creates a positive feedback loop. Small wins build motivation, which encourages further action. Over time, the accumulation of these victories rewires the brain to favor productive habits, resilience, and intentional action. Each small step strengthens the mind's ability to persist in the face of challenges, to remain disciplined when circumstances are difficult, and to sustain focus when distractions appear. Consider the modern example of work or personal development. A single task completed in the early hours may seem insignificant. Writing a few sentences, responding to an email with thoughtfulness, preparing a small part of a larger project, these acts may appear minor when viewed in isolation, yet their cumulative effect is profound. Each small win creates a sense of forward motion. Each deliberate choice signals to your mind that you are capable of accomplishment. By the end of the morning, these small victories have built momentum that carries through the rest of the day, amplifying effectiveness, clarity, and confidence. The Stoics would advise paying attention to these seemingly small moments. They would encourage observing each act, each decision, and each response to life as a chance to practice virtue and mastery. By approaching every small win with intention, you cultivate discipline, patience, and resilience. Modern life often pushes for instant gratification or dramatic outcomes. We are conditioned to look for major breakthroughs, yet the most reliable path to success is through daily incremental progress. Every repeated act of integrity, every disciplined choice, and every focused effort adds up. In practical terms, you can structure your mornings to emphasize small wins. Begin with a simple, achievable routine. Make your bed, drink water, Reflect quietly. Tackle a small task that provides immediate completion. Notice the momentum this generates. The mind begins to align with purpose, energy grows, and the day's larger challenges feel more manageable. Each small victory reinforces the idea that you are in control, that you are capable, and that your efforts matter. Over weeks and months, this consistent practice compounds. Habits solidify. Your identity as someone who acts with intention becomes automatic. Greatness, in its most sustainable form, emerges naturally. The modern workplace, home life, and personal projects all illustrate this principle. Large achievements are often built on small foundations. A leader who makes thoughtful daily decisions, a writer who composes a page each morning, an athlete who performs disciplined exercises consistently, each relies on the power of small wins. The mind and body adapt to these repeated actions. Confidence grows, skills sharpen. The energy required for sustained focus and action is easier to maintain because momentum has been established through deliberate, consistent effort. This is the essence of Habit 8. Each morning, when you focus on small, deliberate actions, you create a foundation for success that extends far beyond that single day. Small wins build confidence, they strengthen the mind, they cultivate resilience, they teach patience and discipline, and over time, the accumulation of these wins compounds into greatness that is noticeable not only to yourself, but to those around you. The discipline to attend to small actions consistently separates those who act with purpose from those who drift through life. As you practice this habit, notice the subtle changes. Tasks that once felt daunting become manageable. Decisions that once felt overwhelming become clear. Energy flows more naturally. Your sense of self-mastery strengthens. Momentum builds quietly, persistently, and effectively. These are the small victories that lead to enduring success. Each morning that you embrace this habit, you reinforce the principle that greatness is a collection of intentional actions performed consistently. This is how small wins compound into greatness. Habit 9. Discipline creates freedom. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many see it as restriction or limitation. They think of it as a chain that binds the individual, constraining freedom of choice and action. The truth, however, is the opposite. Discipline is not a prison. It is the foundation of freedom. When you learn to control your thoughts, actions, and habits, you free yourself from the chaos that often governs life. Each deliberate act of self-control, each consistent choice to act with intention, expands your ability to live freely. Without discipline, life is guided by impulses, emotions, and external circumstances. With discipline, you become the master of your own time, energy, and focus. You become capable of pursuing what truly matters, unhindered by distraction or weakness. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself that he must live according to nature and reason, and that self-mastery was the path to a life of purpose. He recognized that without discipline, a mind and life could be easily scattered by anger, desire, or fear. Yet by exercising control over himself, even in small matters, he gained a freedom that allowed him to act decisively, wisely, and justly. Epictetus also emphasized that external circumstances do not define freedom. A person may be a slave in body, yet free in mind if they cultivate discipline. Freedom is not the absence of rules, but the mastery of oneself. Discipline is the instrument that provides this mastery. Your mind and body are conditioned through repeated action. Psychology confirms this principle. Habits are formed through consistent practice. When you exercise discipline in thought, in routine, and in action, you create a framework that strengthens your ability to respond deliberately rather than react impulsively. This creates what psychologists call self-efficacy, a confidence in your ability to act in accordance with your values and goals. Each moment that you choose discipline over distraction, patience over frustration, clarity over confusion, you are building neural pathways that reinforce freedom. You are teaching your mind to act from intention rather than from reaction. This is how freedom emerges. Consider the modern day. Most people feel busy yet trapped. They are governed by notifications, obligations, and emotional impulses. They chase comfort, avoid challenge, and respond to the world rather than direct it. Discipline, however, changes this pattern. When you set a morning routine, adhere to a personal standard, and act with purpose, you begin to reclaim control over your life. Completing a task before the day has pulled you into busyness, responding with patience instead of reaction, and aligning your actions with your long-term goals are all examples of disciplined choices that create freedom. Each choice liberates you from the tyranny of impulse. Each action strengthens your ability to navigate life intentionally. Modern examples of this principle are everywhere. Consider someone who wakes early, exercises, plans their day, and approaches each task deliberately. At first, these acts require effort. Resistance is natural. It is easy to feel restricted by routine or responsibility. Yet over time, the same actions that once felt like obligations become sources of liberation. The person experiences more energy, clarity, and control over their life. They are not controlled by deadlines, distractions, or emotional impulses. Instead, they move through life with a sense of purpose and direction. Discipline has created the freedom to act in accordance with intention rather than circumstance. In relationships, discipline provides freedom as well. Controlling anger, responding thoughtfully instead of impulsively, and maintaining emotional stability allows for communication, understanding, and meaningful connection. Freedom is found in the ability to choose responses rather than react to emotional triggers. Each moment that you practice restraint, patience, or clarity, you gain a degree of autonomy that would otherwise be lost. Discipline is not limitation. It is liberation from the unconscious patterns that often govern human behavior. This habit emphasizes that freedom is not given. It is earned through repeated, deliberate action. The mornings in which you practice discipline, even in small ways, set the tone for the day. By adhering to your principles and acting intentionally, you create a life that is guided by reason and purpose. The more consistently you act with discipline, the more your capacity for freedom expands. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance, emotion, or habit. You are free to live according to your values, pursue your goals, and respond with clarity and calm. Habit 9 reminds us that every act of discipline, no matter how small, builds freedom. Making your bed, completing a simple task promptly, exercising patience, prioritizing meaningful work, these acts may seem minor, yet they accumulate. They create a life that is less reactive and more intentional. They train the mind to act deliberately, to respond wisely, and to maintain autonomy in the face of pressure. Through discipline, freedom is not only possible, it becomes natural. This is how discipline creates freedom. Habit 10. Decide your day. Each day offers a choice. You can drift through it, allowing circumstances, emotions, and other people's agendas to dictate your experience. Or you can decide your day. You can actively shape how you respond, how you act, and how you feel. This is the essence of Habit 10. Deciding your day means beginning with intention, establishing the direction and tone of your morning, and then carrying that clarity through every hour that follows. It is the practice of conscious leadership over your own life. Most people never learn this. They wake and react. They are guided by habit, distraction, and impulse. They let messages, interruptions, and noise determine their priorities. The day then decides for them. This habit invites you to reverse that pattern. It reminds you that the first conscious decisions you make each morning define the rest of your day. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote that each day is an opportunity to act according to reason, to live in agreement with nature, and to pursue virtue. He reminded himself that he could control his actions, his attention, and his judgments, even when he could not control the world around him. Epictetus reinforced this idea by asserting that freedom is found in the mind. While external events cannot always be chosen, how we respond to them can. Deciding your day is a practical application of this philosophy. By consciously setting the tone of your morning, you exercise control over what can be controlled. You establish the boundaries of your attention, the focus of your effort, and the mindset from which you operate. The practice begins with intention. Intention is different from planning or scheduling. Intention is the mental commitment to approach the day with purpose. It is the decision to notice, to act deliberately, and to engage with life rather than passively accept it. When you wake, take a moment to decide. Reflect on what matters most. Consider what kind of day you want to have. Decide how you will respond to inevitable challenges. This mental act shapes your emotional state, your focus, and your energy. You are no longer drifting in reaction to circumstance. You are steering consciously toward your chosen path. Psychology supports this principle. Research on self-determination and goal-setting shows that people who define their intentions in the morning are more likely to experience focus, productivity, and emotional regulation throughout the day. Our brains are conditioned by repeated actions and by the narratives we tell ourselves. When you consciously decide your day, you create mental patterns that strengthen agency, reduce stress, and increase resilience. Each small act of intentionality compounds. Each choice made from awareness reinforces the sense that you are in control. The morning, then, becomes a training ground for autonomy and clarity. Consider modern life. Most people wake and check messages, emails, or social media. Within minutes, their attention is drawn outward. They react to what others demand or what notifications demand. By noon, they may have accomplished little of significance. Deciding your day interrupts this pattern. It is the conscious moment of choosing your focus, your priorities, and your attitude before external events impose themselves. Perhaps you start by setting a single meaningful goal for the morning, committing to complete a task that matters, or consciously choosing patience in your interactions. These decisions are small but deliberate. They shape the flow of your day. They set a framework that allows you to act rather than react. Deciding your day also includes the awareness that obstacles will arise. You will encounter difficulties, delays, and frustrations. The practice is not about creating a perfect day. It is about creating a day guided by your choices rather than your impulses. When an unexpected challenge appears, the person who has decided their day is not controlled by frustration or panic. They return to the intention they set in the morning. They remind themselves of what matters. They adjust actions while maintaining clarity. In this way, deciding your day fosters resilience, calm, and focus. It allows freedom within structure, choice within constraints, and calm within chaos. Examples of this habit are found everywhere. Consider a professional who wakes with clarity and decides to approach their work with calm, prioritization, and focus. Even if meetings are delayed, emails flood in, or clients are difficult, they navigate the day with control. Their morning decision carries them through challenges. Consider a parent who chooses patience, presence, and intentional engagement with their children, even when fatigue is present. Their decision to lead the day creates calm rather than reacting to frustration. Even in small moments, choosing how to think, feel, and act shapes the experience and the outcome of the day. This habit emphasizes that freedom is found in conscious choice. Discipline, focus, and clarity are built into the act of deciding your day. Every intentional decision in the morning strengthens your ability to guide your mind, your actions, and your emotions. You are no longer a passenger, you are the driver. You are choosing what to prioritize, how to respond, and how to feel. This is a practice that compounds. Every morning you decide your day, you increase the likelihood of living according to your values and goals. Over time, this shapes character, reinforces purpose, and creates a life that is intentional rather than reactive. Habit 10 teaches that deciding your day is not a single act. It is a daily discipline. The practice begins the moment you wake, and it continues with every conscious choice throughout the day. It is a habit of clarity, of intentionality, and of self-leadership. The mornings in which you wake and decide your day are mornings in which you expand your freedom, strengthen your mind, and create conditions for success. By consistently applying this habit, life becomes less about reacting and more about leading. Every decision, every focus, and every action is anchored in purpose. Deciding your day is the culmination of all other habits. When you claim your morning, direct your thoughts, release the past, control your mind, start strong, act without delay, focus your energy, and celebrate small wins. The final act of deciding your day unifies these practices. It is the conscious choice that sets the tone and carries momentum forward. It is the act of self-mastery that transforms intention into reality. When you decide your day, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You are leading yourself in accordance with reason, clarity, and purpose. This is how deciding your day sets the foundation for a life of intentionality, clarity, and freedom. Strength is not measured by force or by the appearance of power. True strength comes from discipline. It comes from being present in every moment and from making deliberate choices, even when it is difficult. Each habit we have explored today works together to create a mind that is steady, focused, and resilient. When you claim your morning, direct your thoughts, release what no longer serves you, act with intention, and decide your day, you are building a foundation of mental clarity that carries into every area of life. Strength grows from repeated practice, from the small decisions that add up, and from the conscious control of your attention and actions. Walk through your day as someone who owns their mind. Walk with the awareness that each choice, each response, and each moment of focus matters. Carry yourself with calm authority, grounded in reason and purpose. This is the practice of self-mastery. It is not sudden or flashy, but it is profound. When you live this way consistently, your presence influences those around you. Your clarity and calm become a guiding force in both your work and personal life. If this message resonates with you, take action now. Like this video to support these teachings. Comment to share your favorite habit or insight. Share it with someone who seeks clarity and strength. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss guidance that combines Stoic wisdom and psychological principles. Stay strong, stay present, and continue mastering yourself.